Hey there, Twitch fans, and welcome back to PAX Prime, live from Seattle, Washington. I am Justin Flynn. Joining me is Rich Taylor, the project director of a really, really awesome game, guys. I can't wait for him to tell us a lot about it. It's actually produced by My.com and developed by Obsidian Entertainment. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the game right now, Rich?
Yeah, you bet, Justin. Thanks for asking. We're really excited today to show off pretty much the first public look at the gameplay of Armored Warfare. Armored Warfare is a AAA title in development, as you said, by Obsidian Entertainment. And it's pretty much centered all around modern military vehicles from all around the world. And a lot of people wonder, why is Obsidian making this game? Our pedigree as a studio is really more RPGs. You might be familiar with Fallout New Vegas, South Park Stick of Truth. We've recently announced or developed Pillars of Eternity, even all the way back to Knights of the Old Republic 2. So really long RPG history at the studio.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even though the studio has a history of making RPG games, the developers are avid gamers of a lot of different genres at the studio, including a lot of online PvP games. So when the opportunity to develop Armored Warfare came up, we really jumped at this chance to apply what we know about progression systems and complex mechanics and bring it to a new genre that we enjoy playing every bit as much as we enjoy working on it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so we're really excited about this project. This is going to be the first chance to see gameplay footage. We've got some of that prepared for you today. Before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about the classes that players are going to see today, just to understand kind of what some of the different strengths and weaknesses of these different vehicles are.
Yeah, for sure.
To help break them down, we've divided these different armored vehicles down into 5 core classes.
Okay.
So you have the main battle tanks. Those are the vehicles that everyone's pretty familiar with. Heavy armor, heavy cannons, pretty large vehicles that you see in the news today, and History Channel for tank battles and things like that. We also have artillery, long-range support vehicles, all about providing long-distance firepower across the map. There are light tanks, pretty mobile light armored skirmishers. They're very nimble, able to get in and out quickly, do some damage. We have tank destroyers, kind of centered around long-range precision, hanging back and providing support fire and things like that. And finally, we have the armored fighting vehicles, which are a wide array of lightly armored vehicles, very quick, very nimble, very ideal for accomplishing long-range objectives on the maps and things like that. Armored Warfare features PvP content as well as cooperative PvE missions.
Okay.
Today we're going to show gameplay footage of about 2/3 of a PvE mission. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and jump in and show that to you.
Awesome, guys. Looks like we're going to jump into some gameplay right now. I'm really excited to see this because you guys are a really well-known developer. That's like no joke.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this project's been really exciting for us to tackle. A lot of new challenges, but a lot of exciting new things we get to do. So we're going to actually show some of the vehicles that you'll see in today's video. So this is the T-80 main battle tank out of Russia. It's armed with a 125 millimeter tank cannon there. Very powerful vehicle.
So some really early gameplay footage, though, by the way, that we're seeing here.
Yeah, this is all pre-alpha.
Okay.
So this is the Challenger 2 main battle tank out of the United Kingdom. It's a very heavily armored vehicle. That's the Palmyra. It's an artillery unit from Italy, actually.
Oh, so some authentic tanks.
Yeah, so these are all real-world vehicles.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So this is the M109A6 Paladin, an artillery piece in use by the United States today, actually. So that's a very modern
America. Awesome.
So this is the Stingray 2. It's an example of a modern light tank. Very lightly armored compared to some of the things we've been looking at, but it's a lot quicker as a result. Still armed with a very powerful cannon. This is the FE510 here. It's a armored fighting vehicle from the United Kingdom. And it features a smaller barrel there. That's actually an autocannon, which means it fires very rapidly. This is the BMP-3, a armored fighting vehicle out of Russia. And that tube there on the top is actually an anti-tank guided missile launcher. And we'll see those in play today, too. This is the LAV-150, an example of a wheeled vehicle in our game. This is also a armored fighting vehicle.
Yeah, those actually all look really, really cool. It's awesome that you've adapted these real vehicles.
Yeah, and we've kind of divided them up with different strengths and weaknesses. This is the M1128 mobile gun system. This is actually a wheeled tank destroyer in use by the United States. This tiny thing is the Weasel 1 from Germany. It's the smallest vehicle in our launch lineup. Sometimes we call it hard mode. This is LAV-600, another wheeled tank destroyer armed with a heavy tank cannon there, but it doesn't have a lot of armor on the hull. So in Armored Warfare, players are going to collect these vehicles, but they're also going to upgrade them. So what we're looking at here is some footage of the Challenger 2. And there's kind of a before and an after shot here. You're seeing the Challenger 2 as it looks when the player first gets it. And then you're seeing what the Challenger 2 looks like when it's been fully upgraded with an armor upgrade kit. So you can see the cage armor applied to the back there. That helps defend the vulnerable locations. and that heavy armor plating on the side too.
That is too rad. I love that element of depth that you're adding to this game. It seems like, on the surface it seems simple. We got some tanks and they're, blasting each other, but then, you can upgrade them, and that's so really cool. It's awesome.
And we really want players to see those upgrades as they put it on the vehicle. So in Armored Warfare, players take on the role of a commander of a private military corporation. As that commander, that means every player has their own base, their own arsenal of vehicles, and their own personnel to train and manage. So players are going to make progression through the game by participating in PvE content and taking on PvE missions in cooperative scenarios. Today's example is a 4-player mission against enemy vehicles.
Yeah, I've seen so we got a base here. Is this your base?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so every player's going to have their own base that they're going to manage.
Oh, that's
We're
so
going
tight.
to talk about that more in detail at a later time, but just kind of a sneak peek there.
Oh my gosh, that's so sick. All right, so we got an overhead.
Yeah, so
map
this
here.
is the first map we're going to show off today. We call this map Oil Fields. The teams are actually going to spawn at one of these 3 spawn points that you see on the map there. The primary objective is for the vehicles to move out and take out these 3 weapon storage depots that will be scattered around the map. Players also have a secondary objective, and that is to take out these 3 surface-to-air missile sites within 5 minutes. But the secondary objectives are optional. Players are just encouraged to accomplish them. They would receive more rewards and progress after the mission if they're able to pull them off. So here we are, actually jumping into the map itself.
You said earlier this is some of the first gameplay footage that anyone's really ever seen?
Yeah, we haven't shown pure gameplay footage like this to date, so this is the first time being able to check it out.
Wow.
Right here at the start, you see a plane getting shot out of the sky, just reinforcing the danger of those surface-to-air missiles that you've been tasked to take out.
Yeah, he's having a bad time.
Yeah. So on the side there, you'll see the players have their objectives list, including the secondary objective of taking out those surface-to-air missiles. They have 5 minutes to do it, otherwise the next flight of planes are going to get shot down. So that's part of the background narrative of kind of what players are engaged here.
We nailed them.
So here we have the T-80 with its trusty battle log in the back there. That's the Russian main battle tank.
Now, can you switch between tanks?
No, each player is in control of an individual tank. We're just switching camera view just to give you an idea of kind of how the different vehicles are playing.
Perfect.
This is the Stingray 2, and what he did there is he actually just fired off some smoke grenades. Smoke grenades provide essentially temporary cover from being spotted by the enemy, and so he's able to do that. You can use that opportunity to go take some cover, or get out of the line of sight, or finish someone off before they can see you. It's kind of one of the examples of different options the players have to equip their vehicles with.
And I see a couple different views here, like they're using different cannons.
Yeah,
or?
well, they're able to switch to a first-person view to line up those shots a little easier.
Okay.
So this vehicle here is actually the Leopard 2A5. It's a main battle tank, a very powerful machine out of Germany. Mounted on the back of his turret there is an example of another piece of modern military technology. You can see that little thing sticking up in the back there. That's
R2-D2 looking.
Yeah, it's an active protection system. It's designed to intercept and shoot down incoming enemy missiles. So it's a powerful defensive option available to some of the higher tier vehicles in the game.
Cool. Actually looked a lot more like Wally.
Yeah, it's Wally, but he shoots missiles down. So
Tight.
it's wartime Wally. So here we have the M1128 MGS we talked about a little earlier. He's just taking some long-distance shots there. So we actually model the armor on these vehicles. So there are vulnerable points, there are hard points that are very difficult to do damage to.
Okay.
So players will typically want to go for either sides or the backs of the vehicles because the fronts tend to be a lot more armored. And he took some damage there, took a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, I see
Tank
that.
status is down on the bottom left there. And the yellow highlighted items are kind of some of the damaged items.
Okay.
And players can actually repair some of their damaged components. So things like treads could be broken, the engine could be damaged, maybe your cannon's damaged. That's a very bad time. But the players are able to repair those and get back into the match at least once per match, provided they bring in the proper equipment with them.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool.
So he's being targeted by some enemy artillery there. You saw that shot coming in from a distance from somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like he was taking a little bit of cover.
Yeah,
So you kind of have
exactly.
to calculate some of your shots there.
Yeah, those arcing projectiles, they can be intercepted by either a building or a hill or the terrain or something like that. So kind of have to find that right angle of fire in order to get those shots on these mobile guys. But for them, the team has to use the cover defensively in order to not be taken out by the long-distance fire. So they cleared out the objectives down in the southern area of the map there. They're now going to go ahead and move on up towards the north. You can see on the mini-map in the bottom right, those large blue circles kind of indicate the next points of where the objectives are. So again, this is that Leopard 2A5 with the active protection system on the back. Leopard 2A5 was actually the first vehicle that we modeled internally. So it's kind of always been our test bed for every new feature we put in the game, including that camo net that you can see on it. It just fired an anti-tank guided missile. It's got the active protection system on it. So it's kind of always been like every come up with a new military toy to put in the game, it usually goes on this tank first. It's just kind of been a fun tradition at this point.
Oh, sick, a little water action.
Yeah, as long as it's shallow enough, you're okay. You don't want to. This thing is not going to go go swimming in the lake.
It's not going to James Bond just straight up turn into a boat and
No.
just take you wherever you want to go. Forget it, I'm out of this battle, guys.
Yeah.
Not even trying. I'm done.
Just bailing. No, so it's safe in the shallow water though. So that's totally fine.
That's cool. That's awesome. There's a ton of different terrain. This map seems pretty complicated here, like or not complicated, but like diverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is just one of the examples of many environments that we're featuring here in the game. You know, we're all taking the players to some traditional desert-looking style maps, some interesting-looking refineries and factories. We have a port city is one of the maps as well. We also have a winter snow blanket city. So a lot of variety on the different maps, and the artists go crazy with just making them look awesome.
We nailed them.
So there he's firing again the anti-tank guided missiles. Those are slower projectiles, but they hit a lot harder. Now you see the blinking on the side there for the secondary objective. They're just out of time.
Yes.
They only got 2 out of the 3 surface-to-air missile launchers. So unfortunately, one of those planes isn't going to make it out of here. Yeah. It's way to go, team.
Yeah, great job, guys.
Yeah. But you know, ideally the players will take out all 3 of those and get those planes across safely and to receive the additional reward too. They're just mopping up the last enemies around this last objective here. This is again that Stingray 2, the little light tank.
Yeah, so they're on the destroy the munitions weapon because the secondary objective, it's over.
Yeah, missed the boat on that one.
Okay.
But as I mentioned before, those are optional. You can still complete the map.
If you just want to save people, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, it'd be good to do that, you know, if you could, while you're out there. No, but the primary objectives are really the mandatory things in order to be successful.
Okay.
And then the secondary objectives typically have some type of challenge element to them, so not everyone's going to be able to do them every time. In this case, it was a timer. Some of it might require synchronization or coordination or some other extra element that's going to require players to work together in order to pull it off.
Speaking of extra elements, I do see an interesting challenge over there, destroy an enemy vehicle while ramming into it. So there's also some collision damage.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's so the vehicles can ram each other and do damage. Challenges that, like the one listed there, is something players have for themselves. So he has that challenge. The other players do not have that challenge necessarily. They may have some other challenge.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely ramming damage, collision damage, things like that. In fact, there is, in this example, we actually unfortunately have some friendly ramming damage. That Stingray 2 is getting a little too close there, and he ran into the back of the other guy and blew up. So not looking good there for the team. We do have respawns in this example, though. The PvE mode would feature respawns, even though the PvP mode, you'd pretty much have your one shot and you don't want to blow it. So that's a little bit of generosity on the play versus environment side. So they're moving in on the final area here, the last circle on the mini-map. Some of them are kind of low on health, so they're going to want to be pretty careful there. So he's going to throw out the smoke grenades, give himself some cover. That'll keep him from taking some shots from the enemy there, provided he's at a good angle. So here we have, he's aiming at that surface-to-air missile silo. It's unfortunately empty. That's a spike kill anyway. Not going to get credit for that, but whatever. Makes up for missing it earlier, maybe.
Hey man, whatever. Sometimes you just gotta blow something up, right?
That'll teach it.
All right, so sending some more. Seems pretty far, like some long distance stuff. This is like a lot of ranged action. Of course, they're tanks. They're tanks. Of course, there's gonna be some ranged action, but yeah, there's some seriously awesome long distance shots here.
Yeah, so the players can go into that first person perspective just to better align up that shot. So it looks like they're gonna blink the area with smoke grenades here, get some final cover while they mop up those final enemy vehicles. But yeah, the vehicles are designed to engage at a variety of ranges, so they can, like, especially those tank destroyers I was talking about earlier, very, very high accuracy from a long distance. Vehicles with anti-tank guided missiles, you can guide those in from long range, also very effective.
Now remind us again for people that might have just popped in and maybe they just got here 5 minutes ago and they're like, wait, what am I watching right now? watching Armored Warfare, of course, and there's quite a few different tanks, like you just said. There's these long distance tanks.
Yeah, so you know,
big
here you have
ones.
this main battle tank here and another one to his side. We got the tank destroyers on the wheels over there, and then a small light tank in this match. So we're not showing the artillery one in this, and we also don't have a armored fighting vehicle in this particular match.
Okay, and then there's 5 total. Is that how many? you
Yeah,
said?
five
Okay.
vehicle classes.
Cool, cool, cool.
So at this point, the players transition on to the next map in the series. This is one we call Refinery. And unlike the last one, their spawn points aren't random. They all start on one side of the map, work their way over to engage a very entrenched enemy, and they pretty much have to work as a team. So they start out having to work their way across an open field, a very dangerous area where they can be shelled from a distance. And then they'll work their way into that refinery over there. The objective is to get to the center of the refinery, get that capture point in the center, and then they'll win this map. So this is the second out of what would be 3 missions. We're only showing 2 today.
Okay.
Or three maps in a full mission.
Yes.
So we're seeing about 2/3 of a full PvE playthrough for a team.
RT incoming.
So moving out, being a little careful. As I mentioned, the first part's kind of in the open, so they have to figure out how to engage that enemy without just being easy targets. So they're kind of working their way over that hill there.
They have the north
And like you said, this is the heavy team play map here. Where you really
Yeah,
wanna
if someone
function.
just zips off on their own, the enemy's very entrenched on this map, so you'll get mobbed pretty bad. But as long as they work together, they'll be just fine. Now on this map, there's a new secondary objective. This one's timed as well. It says destroy the fuel shipments, and they've got 3 minutes to do it. That's actually marked by the blue circle on the mini map on the north east corner there. And that's basically a train that's going to take off in 3 minutes. The objective is to go blow up the fuel tanks on that train before it gets out of there. And because it's so far back in the map, this is a situation where you kind of want one of those fast little AFVs, those armored fighting vehicles. They can zip in the back there, get that objective, and get out of there, ideally without getting shot.
Nice.
This team, unfortunately, doesn't actually have an AFV with them, so they're going to have a little tougher time. All these vehicles are a little bit larger and slower, not necessarily suited for making kind of that spy run to the back there to take those out. But let's see if they manage to pull that off. Oh, just missed getting blown up there. That's good dodge.
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
That's some of that dangerous long-distance fire.
If that
I
was
mentioned.
real life, could you imagine? You probably would just be like, I'm done.
Yeah,
So
it'd be pretty
you-
terrifying. The shockwave alone would certainly do a number on you.
I'm out, guys. I'm turning this into a boat, and we're hitting the water.
We're going for the river.
Head for the river. I think we talked about a lot of the overlays here, but we might not have really discussed what's going on at the bottom of the
Sure.
screen here. We got a couple different missiles, it looks like, that you can fire.
Yeah, there's some different types of ammunition available to the vehicles. In this case, you have 2 different types of shells on the Stingray 2 here. Different shells are going to have different mechanics. We do simulate kind of what these shells do in the real world and how they interact with different armor. So there's some pros and cons of the different choices you have available. This tank is actually about to fire an anti-tank guided missile. And the thing is, you can actually guide that missile. He tried to hook it around the corner there and get that vehicle that was backing up. I don't think he actually managed to pull it off, but we have seen some pretty crazy trick shots possible with those guided missiles too. And then he also has a primary shell that's just the standard direct fire style.
Okay, cool.
Black Company, they have reinforcements inside.
And it looks like some of those slots are for like repairing potentially.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
on
what
the
I'm
other
seeing?
end of the bar there, you have some different consumables players can bring in. So there's an array of different options for those. This example, he has improved fuel. That's improving the quality or the horsepower of his engine. He's also got a repair kit, and he's got a fire extinguisher. The vehicles can be set on fire. Either it's a fuel
Good.
fire or their engine can get lit up, and you'll want an extinguisher option to get that under control. Otherwise, you take a lot of damage.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes, that is what a fire extinguisher would be used for.
And then this one, he has also the first aid kit there. The crew members of the vehicles can also be injured.
Okay.
So first aid kit there to try and get them back on their feet and get them through the match. So they didn't manage to get the secondary objective either. Not batting 1,000 here on the optional objectives. But so what would have happened is that the train actually pulled out of the station at the time limit. Opportunity to take it out is pretty much gone at that point.
Yeah, that's like all the fuel shipments. The whole enemy army is just completely fueled up.
Yeah, it's like, way to go, guys.
That's okay.
No bonus credits
it's
for them.
alpha. It's an alpha. They're
They're learning, right?
They're learning. Yeah.
So yeah, their final objective here is pretty much to clear up the rest of the vehicles inside the refinery. There's a capture circle in the center. They get on that and hold it for about a minute, and as long as they don't take any damage for that duration, then they'll have succeeded in the mission. Obviously, the easy way to pull that off, or ideal way to pull that off, is to take out all the vehicles. Sometimes players figure out some other tricks for finishing it even without destroying all the enemy vehicles, and still being able to take that capture point. So there are some different options there.
That's awesome. That's I like the concept of this map. It's like you know, it mixes up the game a little bit. This is really stealthy. It seems like you're kind of like hiding around, you know, walls and kind of poking out.
Yeah, they started out there in the open. Now they're engaged in this close quarters combat. So
APS, knock down a shot.
so right here, what just happened is that these things are firing missiles.
APS saved us.
But this is that Leopard 2A5 with the active protection system, so it actually shot down those missiles. It all happens in the blink of an eye, so it's very hard to see in action. So that's why we've got the VOQ there, just to kind of let you know that yeah, your equipment just saved you there.
Target armor is destroyed.
So you can see the blue bar filling up at the top there. Looks like they're about to secure the mission, or
awesome.
secure the refinery here, and finish this map off. At that point, then they would move on to the third map of the series and take on the challenges there. At the end of that, their performance during the matches would be tallied up, and they'd get their progression out of that.
I love how all the fuel shipments are gone, but we got the refinery.
Hey, at least you got that now, right? So they got the last shipment out. But yeah, so then here at the end of the mission, just friendly helicopter coming in.
There we go.
Troops coming in to secure the place. Looks like they're blowing it up a little bit. But
We've secured it now. Blow it up.
secured it now. Now send in the missiles. But yeah, so that's like I said, the second example of the maps we have, and that's the gameplay footage we have for you today.
Yeah, that was actually really, really cool. I wasn't sure what I was going to see here because, like you said, it was so early, and I wasn't actually sure. I hadn't even seen the game. This is all new for like everyone.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, what's going to happen with this? But that was really cool. It had like a lot of diversity to it, the different tanks, the different levels. Speaking of that, I don't know if we went over how many maps are we talking. We saw 2, but you said there was 3 in that one. But I'm assuming there's more than that.
Yeah.
Or
you know, I actually don't have the number right off the top of my head, but it's one of those things that even what we start with, we're going to continue updating, continue releasing new PvE missions and new player versus player maps.
Okay, that's
so it'll
really
be an
awesome.
ever growing inventory.
And it seems like you know a lot about all this military stuff, Rich, if that is your real name.
Can't confirm or deny.
That's really cool. Do you have like a military background?
I don't. It was something we dived into when we got the project and started working on it. We do actually have some team members who have served in the military.
Okay.
We have one of our programmers actually drove the M1 Abrams in the Gulf War. So we're able to talk to him a lot and get a lot of references about, you know, what are some of the things you'd say, what are some of the practice you'd do and things like that. And
I can think of a couple of words he might say if he was inside of a tank getting fired at.
yeah, I don't know if we can put those all in the game, though. So.
Help me. That's what I would say. Oh no, I am scared right now. Oh, that's really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of authenticity to this game. I think is what makes it really interesting for someone like me that might be new to a genre like that. I don't know a lot about like tanks and armored vehicles and stuff, and thinking that these are like, oh, I'm battling with these real life things that man built. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good way to learn more about these vehicles. You know, we as developers on the project have certainly done a lot of research and investigating what are the actual mechanics and properties and performance attributes of these vehicles, and our goal is to reflect that in the game. So you know, we do a lot of iterating. If it doesn't reflect what we know to be the real world performance of the vehicle, we go in and we change it. The models themselves, we spend a lot of time finding schematics, blueprints, a lot of photo references. We try to model those all the way down to the bolt. So if any time we identify, hey, that's not exactly right, it goes back in and it gets fixed.
Yeah.
So we really want to be accurate.
That's really cool. And again, if you missed it earlier, you can actually upgrade the tanks. We saw that like in the very, very beginning of the trailer. They had some armor on them. So it's just more than just, you don't just get the tank and then it's like, this is how it is in real life, the end, the game is over. You know, play with this. You can add some armor upgrades and stuff to it as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing is every tank actually has its own unique list of upgrades because the upgrades available for the vehicles reflect the real-world development history of the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
So every vehicle has its own history,
Wow.
and that's reflected in the upgrade trees. So
okay, that's crazy.
armor
That's awesome.
upgrades, that anti-tank guided missile or that they were shooting, the active protection system, smoke grenades. computer electronics and other technology, all reflected in the individual upgrades for the different vehicles.
And again, remind me really quick of the different types of gameplay there. I just want to catch everyone up, because we had quite a long trailer there, and you don't want anyone to come in and be like, wait,
what do you do in this game?
Yeah, there's PvE and PvP, correct? Like you said.
So PvP is very team-centric, so requires a lot of cooperation between the teams in order to achieve victory. And for players who aren't really into the PvP so much, we have the PvE mode, and that's like the example we saw where players are working together against enemy AI.
Okay.
All those red marked vehicles in there, all completely AI controlled. And really both forms of gameplay are completely supported and valid ways to progress through the game, so it's however players enjoy playing it.
Awesome. And then, so this is so crazy early. We're talking, you said pre-alpha, even some pre-alpha footage in there. Like, is there an estimated release date right now?
Actually, we're going to be hitting closed beta Q1 of next year. So we really look forward to people joining us in on that. They can sign up for the beta on the website at aw.my.com.
Okay, definitely go to that, aw.my.com, guys, and sign up for that so that when the beta does roll out, you can hopefully get involved.
Yeah,
we
definitely want to have people in that.
It's closed, right? So you want to get that email, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And then that sounds like a lot of fun, guys. Definitely get involved in that. Again, I'm Justin Flynn. We are live from PAX Prime in Seattle, Washington. Joining me was Rich Taylor, the producer of the game Armored Warfare that you just saw. I can't wait to check it out really soon here. Sign up for that beta, guys, and we will see you soon.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Oh, dude, awesome time. Awesome time. Love the gameplay footage.